We're going to review the secretions of the gastrointestinal tract. In the mouth, we have saliva and Salivaryamylase. In the stomach, there are the gastric juices, water, pepsin, hydrochloric acid, and mucus. In the pancreas, we have enzymes and bicarbonate. In the liver, there's bile that emulsifies fat. And in the small intestine, we have more enzymes. In the mouth, salivary amylase found in the saliva begins the chemical digestion of carbohydrates. It breaks down these long chains of starch, and it begins to break them down into smaller and smaller saccharide units. In this case, they're being chopped up into 2-carbon disaccharides. In the stomach, we have the gastric juices, pepsin, which is an enzyme that breaks down proteins, hydrochloric acid that begins the digestion of proteins. We have mucus. Yes, it's the same stuff that protects the stomach from digesting itself, and water, because water's everywhere. Then we have pancreatic juices. These include the pancreatic enzymes lipases that break down lipids, amylases that break down carbohydrates, and proteases that break down proteins. We also have bicarbonate. Doesn't look like this, but the purpose of the bicarbonate is to neutralize the acidic chyme that left the stomach, which is very high in acid because it has an extremely low pH from that hydrochloric acid. We have secretions from the liver. The liver produces bile. It produces bile, but that bile is stored in the gallbladder and released when fat moves from the stomach into the small intestine. Bile acts as an emulsifier that mechanically digests fat, allowing it to mix with the watery contents of the gastrointestinal tract. Now, bile has both water-friendly and water-fearing portions of the molecule: hydrophilic, water-friendly, and hydrophobic, water-fearing. And when you look through this part of the slide, and it's also in other videos, it goes through how bile helps to emulsify the fat and break it up into smaller particles so that the enzymes, the lipases, can then chemically digest the fat. So bile is mechanically digests fat, and enzymes chemically digest fat. In the small intestine, there are intestinal enzymes, intestinal amylases, lipases, and proteases that are found along what's called the brush border of the villi and microvilli of the small intestinal tract. Other secretions include hormones. We have gastrin, which is produced in the stomach and tells the cells in the stomach to produce hydrochloric acid, which is one of the secretions that's involved in denaturing or beginning the digestion of proteins. We have secretin that tells the pancreas to release bicarbonate, and this bicarbonate is used to neutralize the acidic chyme that has come over from the stomach. And finally, we have CCK, or cholecystokinin. You don't need to remember that. You just need to remember CCK. CCK is a hormone that tells the gallbladder to release bile. The liver produces bile, the gallbladder stores bile, and as fat is crossing over the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine, it sends a message to the gallbladder. That message is the hormone CCK that tells the gallbladder to release bile so that the emulsification, the mechanical digestion of fat can begin. These are the secretions of the gastrointestinal tract.